Fairly accurate. So. It is 5 o'clock on August 19th, 2025. Time just for the schedule of the Water and Light Commission meeting, and I will call this meeting to order. Rena, can you please do a roll call?
Yes, Mayor Morris,
Here.
Commissioner Tankersley,
Here.
Commissioner Elmer,
Here.
Commissioner Garvin,
Here.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Here. Perfect. We do have 2 public hearings tonight, but we're going to go through a few items first. First, we have 2 items listed on the consent agenda. Would any commissioner like to remove any of the items off the consent agenda? Anybody have a chance to look at it? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion from Commissioner Tankersley and a second from Commissioner Lisa Macy Baker. Any questions? No, all those would agree, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes. Included in the packet are accounts payable and purchasing reports. Are there any questions on these reports? Nope. All right, we're going to move on. And we don't have any employee introductions tonight. Next, we have consultant partner reports. We asked Brent Keller, our forester, to please update the commission on the forest management. Hey, Brent.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, the final numbers are in for the 300-401 road sale. That was a 2024 sale purchased by Boise. 413 loads were shipped to Boise and other destinations from that sale. Final volume, about 2.3 million board feet. Final value, $1.3 million. And both of those final numbers were higher than my original estimates, so that's good. I think a lot of that final volume being higher is due to we're pretty conservative cruising that older timber and expecting more defect than we ended up finding out there. So that cut out over the estimate. And some other things that go on with more one species than another and that kind of thing. But 2025 sales, of course, the 350 sale purchased by Stimson does a 2-year contract, and they're going to log that in 2026. We have received their half payment. Half was due the end of July. The second half will be due end of January. So we have received the first half payment. The 7/30/190/100 road sale is cruising right along. Olson Brothers Logging is actually finished cutting here in the last couple of days. And so they're logging and trucking from the sale currently. Roughly 250 loads have been shipped to Stimson, who was the buyer, and other destinations. About 1.3 million board feet. It's been shipped to date out of the 2.2 million estimate total. Yeah, we've received a half payment. I'm just going to keep that as the number that's actually been received until they've worked that off, and then they'll be making payments again, and so then you'll see the actual value related to the load shipped. But that's what we've received so far, is that 822, which is still more than they've actually shipped so far.
Look, I think Commissioner Tankersley has a question.
Brent, quick
Yeah.
question. As long as we don't have a problem with the timber, a storm or something like that, if it's a year later, there should be more volume too, shouldn't there? Okay. And
Yeah.
about how much, does it depend on the age class, how much it grows, or?
Yeah, I think in this older timber, a couple percent more.
Okay, thank you.
Project work for
Second,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Garvin.
On the 2024 300-401 road sale, our board feet went up pretty substantially, but the final price doesn't quite track like percentage to percentage. So is that just due to the timber market coming down, or is the bid price not locked? Or
The prices are all fixed. It's just that they probably have, it's not the same, they're not all the same price by species.
gotcha. Okay.
So the firs,
So that additional
what they bid on, and then there's the alders. We probably had more alder.
Okay.
Or something. I could look at that noise in there and see. But that would be that difference.
Okay.
Would create that difference. Is
Okay.
the difference in prices across the different species. So you have a hemlock price, a alder price, cedar price, and then your fir price, so those are all different, so if they're up or down, then that won't track exactly dollar for volume.
Okay, makes sense. There's a bigger gap there percentage wise, so that's why I have the question.
Right, so there's probably more pulp volume, more alder that are lower price, and so they don't come up with the volume, the value doesn't track up with the
Yeah.
volume.
Okay, thank you.
Project work for 730, 190, 100 road is in progress. The road brushing is complete. And there's some road clearing and other work that's currently going on. Our fire season's been really good conditions out there, and that rain really helped this past weekend. It was in some areas even a little muddy up in the unit there, so that's good. We're still at a industrial fire precaution level 2 for the Northwest 3 district. And we'll see what happens. I anticipate it'll just stay at that level for the duration. Water and light, fire truck and tender is at the treatment plant. And the only operator in the watershed right now is the loggers, and they have their required equipment, so.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Brent?
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
There are no appearance requests on the agenda for tonight. And there is one staff report on the agenda. As Power Resource Manager Jamie Phillips. Jamie. Hi.
This evening, I'd like to provide the commission an update on the BPA provider of choice process. For the past several years, BPA has worked closely with customers to develop new power supply contracts that will replace our existing contracts in 2028. The process and the resulting contracts are referred to as the provider of choice process or contract, and they will provide power service through 2044. Some of the key elements of the contract are somewhat consistent with the current agreement. However, BPA is committed to a fixed system size for the federal resources. So for the duration of the contract, they committed to 7,250 average megawatts of available federal power priced at tier 1. They will continue with contract high water marks, which is how they allocate that amount of power to customers. And that process will take place next year when once they have contracts signed and they calculate those high water marks. They'll continue with a tiered rate construct, which sets rates for that federal power, and then for anything exceeding that at a tier 2 rate. They'll continue to integrate non-federal resources. So if customers would like to bring their own resources or invest in other things, BPA will accommodate that and provide support services for those resources. There will also be a new rate design to accompany the new contracts. Some of the elements are similar to what we have now. They're calling this the public rate design methodology, and that has undergone its own process to be developed, and that will streamline and simplify some of the rate design elements, and hopefully be a more accurate representation of the cost. So the Northwest Power Act obligates BPA to give preference to public power utilities and offer contracts with power supplied from the federal Columbia River power system. And that's the 31 dams and the 1 nuclear plant in Washington. They're obligated to meet customers' net requirements. So that is our load net of any non-federal resources we supply. McMinnville first signed a power supply contract with BPA in 1940, and we've been a customer ever since. last year, McMinnville adopted an integrated resource plan, which is a result of the engagement with a consultant to evaluate our power resource options for the next 20 years. And after thorough analysis of costs, reliability, risk, and environmental impacts, it was recommended that we continue purchasing power from BPA for both, tier 1 and tier 2 resources. And in April of this year, in response to solicitation by BPA and pursuant to the Power Act, McMinnville Water and Light submitted a request for offer to BPA, formally requesting provider of choice power sales contract. Since then, and over the course of many years, staff has worked closely with BPA, and we have recently developed elements specific to our contract related to normalizing loads for weather, incorporating our non-federal resources, things like that. So BPA has recently issued its record of decision on the provider of choice contract process and plans to issue those customer-specific agreements by the end of September. And they are requesting that signed contracts be returned by December 5th to be fully executed by the end of the calendar year. So this is a big milestone. There's been a lot of effort that has gone into this process. And there's going to be an ask of the commission here very soon to sign an agreement. So I wanted to take this opportunity to provide an overview of what we've done so far and what we're getting into, and assure the commission that we have been fully represented by trade organizations on our behalf and by staff here at Water and Light with BPA in these conversations, and have had opportunity to provide comment and input into the process. And we are confident that the contract that we're getting will serve Water and Light well into the future. So there's further detail in the memo. There's also an abundance of resources on your call to order under the power supply tab. I'd be happy to provide further information or detail on any aspect of the contract or topics of interest to the commission. Otherwise, you'll probably see me in October with either an update or a contract.
Are you pretty happy with this?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
it's been quite a process, intense workshop schedules and back and forth, and but in the end, I think everybody got something they wanted.
Good, so good job.
Is,
Mhm.
just for some background, sorry, to understand the whole process a little better. When you say it was analyzed and everybody looked into, is that an in-house? But so we have outside counsel and
I wouldn't say it's council, I'd say it's trade organizations.
trade organization, okay,
So we have two we belong to, Public Power Council and Northwest Requirements Utilities.
okay,
So they did quite a bit of analysis on that.
okay, so it's a lot of people
Yes,
Right,
reviewing it.
plus there's 134.
132
132.
individual contracts will be offered to customers, and these contracts are not necessarily a one-on-one negotiation with each customer. BPA.
We wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
if
there's-
Okay, so it's a
certain
group
elements.
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
to-
Yes.
Okay,
So they're templates, BPA, we've developed templates for each of the products to be offered, the type of product. And beyond that, then there are some specific attributes that are, in each customer's agreement, like our non-federal resources, so that those are accounted for. That's specific to McMinnville. We have some other things that I worked with our account executives and BPA staff recently to incorporate. We've I've had a chance to review that data and those inputs and ask questions and feel comfortable with the result.
And the 132 is preference customers.
Right.
Make it clear. Those are the preference customers only.
Okay.
And so any energy above that BPA has above the net requirement goes to the market, becomes secondary sales,
Secondary.
which offsets our power rates.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
It's very helpful. No, this was a really good summary, and I hope people save it and refer back to it as time goes on.
To give thanks to Sammy for
Yeah.
his input on them all. Capturing all of the statutes and important history there.
Good job. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Okay, now we need to go into a public hearing, so let me say my spiel. It is after 5 o'clock, August 19th, 2025. The time scheduled to conduct 2 public hearings. First hearing is a continuation. First opened on July 15th regarding McMinnville Electric rates and charges. And the second hearing regards allocations of rate period high water mark and change in distribution charge for industrial contract customers. As mayor, I am the presiding officer and I will conduct the hearings, impose reasonable time limits on participants, and receive documents and reports into the hearing record. At today's hearings, the commission expects to begin each staff with a staff report. During the staff report, I may recognize other members of the commission to ask questions of the staff. After the staff report, interested parties will be invited to ask questions. Before stating your question, please state your name and address for the record. Because we are operating in a hybrid digital format on Zoom, I will now provide an overview of some important procedural items. If you're watching on YouTube, you will need to go to the Zoom meeting as provided in the published notices on the website in order to join the meeting. Anyone joining the Zoom meeting is automatically set to be on mute and to have their video display hidden. At the appropriate times during the meeting, I will ask those on Zoom whether they will like to speak. When this occurs, please select the raise hand option from your device. When you have selected raise hand, the staff person managing the meeting will know that you would like to ask a question. I will give adequate time at these points during the meeting for questions of staff. If you're having difficulty using the raise the hand feature, you may also use the chat feature to type that you would like to speak. The chat feature will be monitored during the meeting. If using the chat feature, please note your name and address and confirm that you wish to ask a question of staff about electric rates. Okay, then we're going to go back. Next page. If you are calling in via phone and do not have access to Zoom meeting video toolbar, please wait until I ask if there is anyone on the phone who would like to ask a question. I will make sure that everyone who wants to participate in the public hearing has the opportunity to do so. The commission may have questions for the interested parties who speak during the meeting. Staff will be offered an opportunity for a final comment. Finally, the commission will deliberate and consider the proposed resolution and attached rate schedules. To begin, the first meeting, a continuation from July 15th, will be an electric rate and charges, which I will now open. Utility rate analyst Trina McManus will continue the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. For the record, my name is Trina McManus, and I'm the Utility Rate Analyst for McMinnville Water and Light. I've worked for the utility for the last 15 years and have focused on rates and cost of service for about 5 years now. I've been working with the consultant, Utility Financial Solutions, on the latest revisions to the cost of service model for the last 5 months. We're here today to continue a public hearing on changes to electric rates and charges. This hearing was first opened on July 15th, 2025, where McMinnville Water and Light consultant Mark Beauchamp of Utility Financial Solutions presented the results of the latest electric cost of service analysis. Mr. Beauchamp is the president of UFS and has over 30 years of experience in the utility environment. He's completed cost of service and rate studies for more than 200 municipal systems around the United States and has served as an expert witness in rate cases. Mark is a recognized Mark is recognized as a national expert in his field and often speaks at conferences and presents to industry organizations. Mr. Beauchamp presented a 3-year rate track with a 4.5% overall increase in electric rate revenue each year. Tonight, we are asking the Commission to consider the adjustments for year 1 only. I'd like to briefly review the rate schedules and proposed changes. On the residential rate schedule, the proposed rate adjustments are in line with what was presented by Mr. Beauchamp in July. But on page 2, staff is proposing an adjustment to item number 3 titled Installation Fees. For many years, we've had the language that new residential development pays a flat $1,500 fee as an installation fee per lot. This fee is intended to cover costs for materials and labor involved in bringing service to a lot. So that includes things like transformers, primary wire, secondary wire, junction boxes, and streetlights. Over time, actual costs have changed, and this fee is no longer capturing actual costs incurred. So staff is proposing language that allows for actual costs to be charged for each lot. If anybody has any questions as I go through these rate schedules, please stop me at any point. On the general service schedule, the one item of note is that we're continuing to move the first block of demand towards cost of service. At this point, that cost of service mark is $6.50 per kilowatt. For many years, that first block was quote unquote free. So it was at a 0 rate, which means that that actual cost was just rolled up into the kilowatt hour charge. So everybody was paying for that block of demand, whether or not they were using it. To continue movement towards true cost of service, the customers utilizing that demand need to be paying for it. So we've moved that charge for that demand out of the kilowatt hour charge up to the amount that we're charging at this point, and we're incrementally moving that demand block towards cost of service. So when we first started doing it, it was $1.50 per kW. Then we went up to $3 per kW. Now we're proposing moving it to $4.50. So we're getting closer and closer to cost of service for that 0 to 15 kW block. On the lighting rate schedules, cost of service for municipal lighting revealed the need for a 45% rate increase to reach full cost of service. We're not going to place the rate increase into effect all at once, but we are proposing a higher rate increase proposed at 8% to move that category closer to cost of service. Staff is also proposing some description changes of the lighting types. We found that it's difficult to specify LED equivalent wattages in the descriptions. As manufacturers and technology changes, the LED equivalent wattage numbers change on a regular basis. We continue to install LEDs in new construction and also as existing HPS fixtures fail, but we no longer want to specify the LED wattages in those descriptive line items to prevent confusion. On the rental light schedule, no rate adjustments are proposed. That category is currently at cost of service, but we are proposing the same description changes that are on the municipal lighting schedule. If we look at the miscellaneous schedule, we only have one fee that we're proposing to change at this time, and that is the remote read meter opt-out fee. So on the electric side, we install ERT meters in our system. That stands for encoder, receiver, transmitter. This allows meter readers to drive along a route and pick up reads electronically without having to get out of the vehicle. There are times when customers call us and request that the ERT meter either be removed or not installed at all if we're in the process of changing it from the standard digital meter to the ERT meter. So this now requires that the meter readers drive all the way to the specific location, go up to the meter, read it, and input the read into the handheld device. So this is more expensive than the cost of if they were to just drive through a neighborhood. The cost of service study revealed that cost of service for this is at $30.08. To move closer to actual cost, staff is proposing a $5 increase this year to this fee. And we anticipate recommending that same incremental increase each year moving forward until we reach cost of service. On the wheeling rate schedule, for those that don't know, wheeling is a fee associated with transmitting electricity over our system into another utility's system. McMinnville Water and Light currently has one wheeling customer, and that is PGE, Portland General Electric. The cost of service study revealed that our current rate was significantly under cost of service. And this is a relatively low revenue item. It only generates right now approximately $11,000 per year. So staff is proposing going halfway to cost of service in year 1 and up to full cost of service in year 2. On the pole attachment rate schedule, this rate is charged to our joint use partners that have attachments on our poles. So these are companies like Frontier, Verizon, Ziply, and Hunter Communications, to name a few. The last update to this rate schedule was done in 2021. And so during this cost of service cycle, staff requested that the consultant review the costs and calculation for this rate. The results revealed a rate adjustment from $10.18 to $17.27 per foot of pole space. And as we looked at other utilities in the region, we found that this rate is much more in line with what most utilities are charging. There are a couple that are almost double what our proposed new rate is. And as you can see from the rate comparison charts for both residential and general service, even with the proposed rate increases, McMinnville Water and Light continues to be very competitive in our rates. As I updated these charts, I noticed that many utilities faced a 7 to 12% rate increase over this past year. It's staff's opinion, based on familiarity with MW&L's electric department's financial status, revenue requirements, and review of the UFS cost of service study, that the overall 4.5% rate adjustments are based on system costs and electric rates necessary to provide adequate receipts for maintenance and operation of the system, maintenance of adequate reserves for contingencies, and contemplated additions, improvements, and extensions to the system. I'd also like to offer the information from the commission packet, which is pages 22 to 56, to be admitted as part of the hearing record. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any commissioners have any questions?
I do.
Okay, Commissioner Tankersley?
So real quickly, Trina, I'm trying to understand the difference between the rental lighting rate and the municipal lighting rate. I mean, I agree with both kind of concepts. One, that we need to phase that in, but two, the city needs to, the rest of the ratepayers don't need to subsidize that. So my question is, as I look at the numbers, are the two rate schedules apples and apples? In other words, does the rental light person get the same thing, or does the city sometimes use a light fixture that's contributed by a developer in a new subdivision or something like that, and so we're supplying it to the rental person? We're supplying everything, where the city might have somebody supplying on their behalf the fixture.
They should be apples to apples. We have standards and specifications that we require be installed. So whether we're providing the light in a rental light situation or a subdivision is putting lights in, that the cost will then be absorbed by the city, they should be the same type of lights.
No, what I mean is, if if the rental light is something we supply and the city doesn't require us to supply the light on the municipal lighting, is that the case? Does that explain part of the reason for the difference?
I think part of the reason for the difference was that we were holding the rate down.
No, I know that, but I mean, now as we move forward, I mean, because I think the rental charges are,
It's on the municipal light schedule.
yeah, the water and light rate design, projected rental rates.
The
It's
municipal rate.
page 7 and
5.25.
page 6 and 7, I believe. No,
It's, it- you go to the municipal lighting rate and the next one is the rental light.
yeah,
It's like page 28 and 29.
I'm just trying.
If I look up on the corner,
yeah, it's hard.
when you move them, it'll show that.
Oh,
Page at
okay,
the top.
up there. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, so I see 10 of 36 is the muni rate. And then let's look at where's the rental rate?
So Trina, do you remember the number
It
of
goes down on
municipal
29.
lights versus rental lights?
I believe the city has just under 3,000 lights, I think somewhere like 2,900, somewhere in there. And rental lights, there's a few hundred. There's significantly more city lights than there are rental lights.
I think it's pages 9 and 10. And I just to take one example, I see the facilities, it's the facilities charge, so it's not the, is that the energy? No, see, it's,
No, it's just the lamp or the pole
okay,
are the two charges.
and and do we charge for the power too?
It's included in the light. right?
Okay.
That's a
But so-
component of the charge, yes.
Okay, so,
So the only part, like the fixtures themselves aren't any different, but because there's such a different disparity in the quantity of the lights, how the costs are spread throughout that specific rate category is going to be different. So you're not going to see exactly the same until those like costs align and we're able to kind of consider them as one rate category. The allocated costs between the two categories are going to be a little bit different.
we still, and maybe I'm being slow right now, but
Okay,
I don't. So do the developers, I know a lot of city streetlights, we supply the
Okay.
light when it has to be replaced, but when it
So when-
first starts.
new subdivision goes
Yeah.
in, the developer puts the light in. That's their expense.
Right, and
Yeah.
so
And when a rental light customer requests a light, they have to pay us for the cost of the
Oh,
yes.
installation.
okay, that's the
fixture
answer.
upfront.
That's the answer. Thank you. Okay, that's the answer.
Yep.
We knew we'd get there.
Any other commissioners have some questions? Yep, so we have interested party in the audience. Wanna come out? Mr. Colville, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Want to state your name?
Bill Bordeaux, McMinnville.
Thank you.
I read last month in the News Register about the large rate increases that were being proposed to be coming up here. And the information that I got from the article was that normally I hear it's like BPA is a large part, but this time the article mentioned that other costs with water and light were the reason that the rates need to be raised so much. And I would appreciate an overview, a simplicity of what these general costs are and why they need to be raised so much. And not only 1 year, but the News Register talked about 3-year proposition of raising them. Now, I apologize if that's inaccurate, but I don't have any other news source about water and light than from the News Register.
Okay. Trina or John, who would like to answer those questions?
You want to start or you want me to start?
Sure, I can start.
Okay.
The main driver for the rate increases is definitely BPA power and transmission costs. That is by far our biggest budgeted item and drives our rates more than anything else. We do have upward pricing pressures for things like labor and material costs that over the last 5 years, material costs have significantly increased. So that continues to be a thing that we look at carefully and consider in our rate increases. But by far, BPA is the driver for this rate increase.
So, and I'll add, on the BPA portion, 7% was the power. And
7% is
18%
power
was
and
18% on the transmission portion of our rates. And you're seeing that translate to 4.5% on the retail rate. The other thing,
Annually.
what's that?
Annually.
For the next 3 years. And each year, the reason that it's broken into annually is each year we will look at it and the commission will vote on, is that adequate? Do we need enough? Is that enough? Do we need less? But they will evaluate that. The other thing I would add is, and you'll see later in our packet, we are looking at purchasing 3 substation transformers. Okay, the substation transform, 2 of those transformers are for Cascade Steel. 1 is for our distribution system. 10 years ago, that transformer was $700,000. Today, it's $2 million. So that's what's happening in our industry is the escalation of material costs have been enormous.
And we have 2 new substations going in.
We have 1 that we're looking at currently, potentially having a second one down the road. But 2 of those transformers are replacing 2 transformers at
replacing.
Cascade Steel, which they pay those costs.
If I understood her comments earlier on, you're not considering tonight 4%, 4%, 4%. You're only considering 1 year rate increase at this
Correct.
point.
Correct.
Last, before I leave, I have a comment on, I've been watching and monitoring this board for the last 45 years, and I have never understood why McMinnville and or this board utilizes a situation where we are charging under cost of service, like it's some kind of benefit. In the long run, then we're losing money every time we have a charge that's charging under what the cost is. And I don't understand why it's taken 40 years to the point where we move to go, here's the cost of service, here's what we charge. And tonight, listening to her, I heard 3 or 4 or 5 different places where we're not charging what it costs us. It doesn't make sense to me.
And Trina, do you want to?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bordeaux. Do you want to give some input as to why you're proposing that?
Sure. There's a couple of areas where we have consistently been under cost of service. Some of that is a little difficult to speak to, and that there were agreements at one point to not go to full cost of service, like on the municipal lighting, for example. And so we continue to try to push that a little bit without putting too much hardship either on the city or also on individual customer classes. We're also chasing a moving target. So it's difficult to completely get up to cost of service and then stay at that level for different rate classes. And so that's why we try to keep a regular review and do cost of service at least every 2 years to do our best to achieve cost of service and also to get the revenue that we need, but also not put too much burden on the customers. It's that tricky balance between the two. We try to balance it the best we can. And hopefully through these regular reviews, we're able to achieve that and hopefully get as close as we can.
Trina, you might talk about, we try to keep within a band.
Yeah. And usually, industry standard, according to our consultant, is like plus or minus 10%. And if we go beyond that, then we really need to look at that rate class and make some adjustments. As a utility too, we try to balance our rate increases to not make the undue burdens on individual customers. That little increases over time tend to do a pretty good job of balancing both the utilities needs and the customer's ability to pay.
So is it basically taking the increased costs and spreading it over the 3 years versus doing it all at once?
Correct.
Does that help you, Mr. Bordeaux? Thank you.
I don't agree, but I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with that philosophy.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here that would like to? Nope. Do we have anybody on Zoom or on the phone?
We do not.
Okay. Anybody else from the commission have any questions? Okay, and with this, we have a resolution.
So Madam Mayor, so I understand you've accepted the materials into the hearing record.
Yes, I have accepted
And
this.
you're proposing that
Thank you.
you-
Correct.
So we do have a resolution. It's, if you want me to read that this time.
Yes,
It's
please.
resolution number 2025-17. Resolution adopting electric rates, charges and fees by the city of McMinnville acting by and through its Water and Light Commission. That's resolution number 2025-17. And it's in your materials and starting at page 42.
Let's go back in. Does anyone have a motion to accept the resolution as mentioned?
So moved.
Commissioner Tankersley, do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Helmer. Any further discussion or questions? No? Trina?
Mayor Morris,
Yes?
Commissioner Tankersley,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Garvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Yes. Good. Okay, so now we'll close this hearing. And we're going to go on to the next hearing. And I will call the next hearing I now open is on industrial contract customer rates and charges. Power Resource Manager Jamie Phillips will begin the hearing with the staff presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In 2011, in conjunction with the start of the regional dialogue power contracts, BPA established contract high watermarks for each of its customers. The contract high watermark sets the customer's maximum eligibility to access power priced at a tier 1 rate. And those high watermarks were based on actual fiscal year 2010 loads. And they'll continue through the duration of the regional dialogue contracts, which expire in 2028. Ahead of each rate period, BPA conducts a rate period high watermark process when it forecasts the generation output of the Federal Columbia River Power System and allocates that output to its customers, prorated to a customer's contract high watermark. For the fiscal year 2026 to 2028 rate period, BPA is forecasting an increase in the federal system output over the current rate period, resulting in higher rate period high watermarks from rate period 2024 and 2025. McMinnville Water and Light has power service agreements with Cascade Steel and Airgas that follow that same methodology for allocation of rate period high watermarks. For Cascade Steel, the current rate period high watermark is 38.063 average megawatts. The staff is proposing to adjust Cascade Steel's rate period high watermark for the BPA fiscal year 2026 to 2028 period to 38.283 average megawatts. The current rate period high watermark for Airgas is 4.503 average megawatts. Staff is proposing to adjust Airgas rate period high watermark for the BPA fiscal year 2026 to 2028 rate period to 4.529 average megawatts. Additionally, McMinnville Water and Light routinely evaluates the industrial customer's distribution charge. The distribution charge serves to recover the costs related to McMinnville Water and Light's capital investments, depreciation, and O&M expenses. The distribution charge has been reviewed by Utility Financial Solutions as part of our electric cost of service analysis. The results indicate that the current distribution charge amounts are adequately meeting the cost of service needs, and no adjustments are recommended at this time. No other changes are being proposed for the Cascade Steel and Airgas industrial contract rate schedules. A notice of this public hearing was published in the News Register on August 8th. And staff is requesting that the commission adopt by resolution the adjustments as per the attached exhibits to be effective October 1st, 2025.
I assume that we talked to Cascade Steel and Airgas and they have an of understanding what's coming.
I have reached
Okay.
out to both and an exchange with. They're aware.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have two resolutions, correct? Or just one on this one and then,
Now we have two resolutions. So. So Ms., I ask you a couple questions?
Please.
So in your opinion, do these rates and charges provide, will they provide adequate receipts for the maintenance and operation of the system and maintenance of adequate reserves for contingencies and for contemplated additions, improvements, and extensions to the McMinnville water line system?
Yes.
And are you also offering, for the record, this will be pages 57 through 66 of our packet materials?
Yes.
Those are my simple questions.
good job, Sam.
Real quick question too.
yeah.
So if I remember correctly, our high water mark is gonna go down with the new contract in 2030, right? And so there'll be another hearing then at least, or before that, to reduce everybody's share, because it would probably be done the same proportion, right?
Correct. Yeah, this high water mark will apply through the end of the regional dialogue contracts in 2028. And then, yeah, we will
Oh,
be back.
28, yes, thank you.
We'll be back ahead of that to establish high water marks for
Great,
the
thank you.
next contract.
Any other questions for? Okay, can we read resolutions?
Maybe we might want to ask, do we have any?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Comments from various parties?
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like? Nope. Karina, do we have anybody on Zoom or on the phone?
We do not.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll be closing the hearing record.
okay,
The mayor having accepted the materials in the record. So the first resolution is resolution number 2025-18. Resolution adopting components of power costs, electrical rates, charges, and fees for Cascade Rolling Mills Incorporated in conjunction with a power sales agreement executed between the city of McMinnville combined through its Water and Light Commission and Cascade. That's 2025-18.
do I have a motion to accept the resolution as Sam spoke?
So moved.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Garvin. Do I have a second?
Second,
I'm gonna take Commissioner Tankersley. Any further discussion? Trina?
Mayor Morris,
Yes?
Commissioner Tankersley,
yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Garvin,
Aye.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a second resolution. This is resolution number 2025-19, resolution adopting components of power costs, electrical rates, charges, and fees for Airgas USA LLC in conjunction with the power sales agreement executed between the city of McMinnville acting upon through its Water and Light Commission and Airgas.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a motion from Commissioner Elmer? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Garvin. Any further questions or discussion? Karina?
Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Tankersley,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Garvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Yes.
Thank you for Jamie. Have anything
Thank
else?
you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the thoroughbred car wash easement termination by E&O Director James Burke to present.
Good evening.
Hi, James.
So in May of 2025, an electoral easement was granted to McMinnville Water and Light for secondary power. During construction of the new car wash on Southwest Bend Road, the developer decided to change the design and have the secondary power rerouted, resulting in McMinnville Water and Light no longer needing that easement. Staff recommends adopting the resolution, approving the termination of the easement by quitclaim and release, and authorizing the mayor and commission clerk to execute necessary documents on behalf of the commission. If there's no further questions. We have a resolution that Mr. Justice can read.
Any questions for James?
There's no future benefit to this easement.
No,
It would not serve us in the future.
We
in
have a
any
new
way.
easement out there. It was just it was a change.
Oh.
So what happened was as we went through, we recorded the easement thinking they were going to develop and that within that easement that they needed it. And as a result, they made a modification during construction. So we have a new easement and we're terminating this one. So
Okay.
we're made whole again. It's just, there was a
Okay.
change.
Okay, Sam,
This is resolution number 2025-20, a resolution approving the termination of the easement by the City of McMinnville Municipal Corporation in the state of Oregon, acting by and through its Water and Light Commission. That's 2025-20.
do I have a motion to accept the resolution? As read,
So moved.
Commissioner Garvin. Need a second? Commissioner Lisa Macy Baker. Any other discussion or questions? Trina?
Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Tankersley,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes,
Commissioner Garvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Yes.
Thank you, James.
All right, thank you.
Next item is an update on the purchase of 3 substation transformers. I invite purchasing manager Chad Hudson to present the item. Hi, Chad.
At the June commission meeting, commission authorized staff to issue a notice of intent to award for the purchase of 3 substation transformers from Prolec GE Waukesha for a purchase price of $4,853,000 for the 3. We did issue the notice of intent to award. The protest period of 7 days expired with no protests. After that, staff entered contract negotiations with GE Prolec Waukesha. We have come to a place where we feel like we have an agreement. But wanted to bring to the attention that we asked for a maximum price. They're now willing to do that as the lead times are significant. And so they have escalators in that $4.8 million purchase price. And so we wanted to come back to the commission and make sure the commission was aware of that before we proceeded and make with contract execution.
Right, and to make sure that the delegated authority you gave to the general manager included that authority to approve a contract that included escalation. That's basically the ask.
So are we stuck on this contract? So if it's escalated? I mean, tell me your concerns and.
Well, the concern would be obviously out, but every transformer manufacturer, with whoever we go is gonna have.
They're still all doing this.
Yeah, so what we're doing to help mitigate that is we actually got slots that were fourth quarter of 27. So originally they were out even further than that.
I see, so you're gonna try to purchase it sooner so
Right.
that the escalation.
And
is much-
and if we can get slots earlier, we'll try that too, because sometimes slots come open, people cancel
Mhm.
slots and we'll try and move them even earlier to get the transformers. So we'll hopefully mitigate some of that risk.
But right now, that's our production allocation window.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And those escalators are primarily on copper, steel, oil.
I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
they're listed in there, but yeah.
So,
And it's standard now. There's not like we can go with someone else and be committed to
Yeah.
price. Nobody's willing to do that right now. Okay,
And is this the quickest production window of the other?
I don't remember what the others,
There was 1 or 2 that had a lesser, but most of them were pretty similar.
and this is a staff's preferred vendor because the quality is much better, we feel, than other manufacturers. And we've purchased from this manufacturer a number of times before.
and taking them earlier is fine with our budget.
Yeah, we can store them. I mean, if we get the transformers earlier for the mill, we'll install those as soon as we get them. The one that we would not install would be the one out at Innovation Campus.
And John, since we're committing to these three, if we can't reach a deal with the property owners, or if we do and the city's conditions are such that we exercise an option not to go through with the deal, are we stuck with a transformer we can't use?
No, we would use it as a spare, but we also have another site that we're looking at building another substation, which would be on the northeast side of their service territory, just off of Highway 47. There's a tap point right there where our 115 line taps from BPA. We're looking at building a substation there, and we would use that you'd use that transformer out there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'll just point out, there's a
Okay.
memo in the packet that maybe is available for a later discussion, executive session, if you want to discuss those topics.
You had a question?
I can wait till later. I mean, my question is historically, what have you seen as? If we're getting this price for, it's today's dollars,
Right.
so we already know that there will be an escalation. I mean, there just will be. What have you, I know there's outside parameters of something crazy happening, but is it a 5% a year, or is it?
I think they have some.
Does it say that?
It varies with the escalator. That's the problem. So you don't, one escalator may go up, the other may not go up as much.
Okay, so it's defined in the.
Yeah, but what you need to be looking at is, if you go back at when we purchased transformers over time,
Be right with it.
we've seen escalations in transformers over time as well, because back when we built the Gormley substation, transformer cost there and was over right around $1 million. And then 2 or 3 years later, we bought again. I think we're 700,000, so we bought 3.
Okay.
And so it's all tied to the economy and the commodities prices. Yeah, it's all tied to commodities prices.
Okay.
And John, I assume with all these AI centers and such, that's gonna bump the demand for transformers.
Yeah, there was an article I was reading, and they were talking about it was a 30% increase in power transformer demand and a 10% in distribution transformers, which I thought was interesting. Because like you said, with the AI and all of those are all power transformers. They're not buying the smaller transformers.
And this is a power transformer.
This is a power transformer. It's a medium-sized power transformer is what it is. And so really the key to that is the core steel, because the core steel is only made in 2 places in the world. One's in China and one's in the US. And that core steel is a very specific steel, and it has what they call a grain orientation. So all the grains run a certain direction to reduce losses in the core. So that's really the big one.
And our contract with Cascade Steel allows for this.
Yes,
So if
They-
our price goes up, their price goes up,
they're obligated to pay 100% of those costs.
whatever that cost is.
Any questions on this one? And that was just an update.
Well, I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
actually pass a motion on this, because I think we want to expand what the general manager's delegated authority. So
Okay.
the motion be, having issued notice of intent to award, no protest being filed, and finding it remains most advantageous to Water and Light pursuant to RS 279B060. A motion to approve award of contract to Prolac GE Waukesha for purchase of 3 substation transformers pursuant to solicitation RFP 2025 power transformers for a purchase price of $4,853,000, subject to contract price escalation and any form as approved by the general manager and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
I have a motion to accept. So. Lisa Macy Baker, maybe a second,
Second.
Commissioner Garvin. Any further discussion? Is that one that we can just take
You can take a motion. It's
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Thank you, John. Next item.
Thank you, staff, for pushing back
Yeah.
as much as you could.
This is not a lot, we don't have a lot of option in this environment right now with pushing back because of the way things are going with the manufacturers and I mean, they can fill their slots pretty easily,
Right.
especially with all the AI data center or server, data farms that they're doing. It's just
Right.
crazy what's going on.
Next item is the annual review of the investment policy and broker list. Invite Finance Director Martin Dunmeyer to present.
Evening.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So as you're aware, our investment policy requires an annual review by the commission and readoption of the policy, whether any changes are made or not. And so policy has been presented in the information that I provided in the packet. We aren't recommending any changes this year. Also required in the policy is that the commission is able to review the investment performance for the year. And so I provided information on that in my memo. And also the investment officer is to do a review of the brokers and the brokerage firms. And so I provided information on my review of our 3 brokers and the firms they work for. So I thought I'd just give just a little bit of information on the investment performance. So we had at the end of the year about 75 million invested, and our returns were about our earnings 3.67 million on that. And so our investments are in 3 vehicles. 2 are state funds, the short-term fund, and the other is the intermediate fund. So short-term is LGIP, intermediate fund is the OLGIF or OGIF. And then we have also investments in US Treasuries as well. We had 3 treasuries, 3 T-bills that we were holding at the end of the year. So as far as performance of those, LJP, it's been pretty stable. It started the year at about 5.3% and dropped down by March to about 4.6%, and that's where it stayed. Treasuries kind of follow that same trend, but just under the LGIP, and then OGIF has actually performed better at 6.27%. We don't typically have as much invested funds there because that can be a bit more volatile because of the investments are longer term. So if the rates change, those investments perform differently. So overall, 2.7 million we earned from our investment in LJP, 385,000 in the intermediate fund, and 563,000 for treasuries. One thing I wanted to explain, and I provided information in my memo, is how we execute the treasury investments. So my review of the brokers and their firms, there weren't any material changes from the prior year to this year. So we're not recommending any changes there. But one thing that's real important is that our system, the way we do this, we use a safekeeping bank, and they hold custody of our funds before we execute the purchase, and then they hold the security that we purchase. So the money and the security is never held by the brokerage firm. So when we go to do the purchase, I'll email brokers and get solicit offers, and we'll get offers that come in. We'll review those, look at rates and duration, and we'll pick what we want to purchase. I'll request that, and then a trade ticket will come back. And so then I'll review the offer against the trade ticket to make sure that what they are going to purchase for us is what they offered. And then I'll send that to the safekeeping bank, and they'll look at the trade ticket and compare that to the treasury, the security that comes in, and make sure those match. And if they match, then they provide the funding. So, and another thing that's really important, and this was all kind of a learning process when we started this, but there's different types of safekeeping accounts. And we sought out a bank that would provide a security or a safety account that would be, Water and Light would have that would be in our name, as opposed to like an account that's in the bank's name that has many entities that have securities invested and they hold funds in what's called an omnibus account. So those arrangements are much less costly to do. They're pretty minimal. They don't charge an annual fee. They just charge a small fractional amount of what's held. So ours is a little bit more. We for the year we paid about $5,800 for that service. But that is significantly less than any other institution when we did our research, and they provide a great service and they really protect our funds.
And the reason why we did that was because it wasn't an asset of the bank
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
So if they went to bankruptcy, that wasn't locked up.
Yeah.
Good job.
So,
Mark, what did we have in treasuries? I think you told us, but I wasn't.
at the end of the year, I believe we had 9 million in treasuries. We had three bills.
And that's about what the balance was over the year.
The average over the year was about 11.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We had more in the prior
$1,500
year
doesn't seem
because
much.
rates were higher in the prior year. So we were pushing money more to treasuries than to LJP.
So one of the things we've been doing is making sure that whichever investment's paying the best is we put as much as we can in that investment. So the LGIP is paying better right now, so we're trying to push as much money into that one versus the treasuries.
What's the ceiling on the LGIP? Because there's a maximum.
Yeah, it's like 61.7, and that'll change at the end of the month. They each August at the end of the month, they'll send out they do a cost of living kind of change, so it'll probably go up.
So what we have in there is our max, basically.
Yeah, we try to keep, if we're trying to optimize that for as much money in there, we try to leave ourselves a $2 to $3 million buffer between just for moving money in and out for receiving and making payments. So, but yeah, we try to keep it close to the ceiling.
Good job. I appreciate all the effort you put into that.
Yeah, so the request is just to readopt the policy with no changes. That's staff's recommendation.
Sam? Do you wanna-
So the resolution is resolution number 2025-21, a resolution adopting an investment policy for surplus funds of the city of McMinnville, a municipal corporation in the state of Oregon, acting by and through its Water and Light Commission. That's 2025-21.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Commissioner Tinkersley, do I have a second? A second from Commissioner Lisa Mays-Baker. Any further questions? Trina?
Yes, Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Tankersley,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Garvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy Baker.
Yes.
Thank you, Margie. All right, we're gonna move on to John's. Oh, yeah.
Is there a second motion about the broker? Do we have to have a motion for that or?
You're actually not approving any new brokers. The
Okay.
brokers are just status.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so John has a report here. You have anything you want to highlight?
Other than, Mayor Morris and Commissioner Garvin attended our tour today with a number of our state legislators, trying to start educating them on the consequences of the actions that they're taking. Various things.
Some issues that may be proposed at the
Yes.
state level that would affect power rates
Yes.
and charges. So it was a great tour. Your lovely wife is with us.
It was hard for her to give up the grandkid, but she did it.
Yeah.
John, I like the way that you are proactive in these issues. I really do.
Like I was telling Kim, and we need to be doing more of these things because there's just more push on adding more costs constantly, and we need to push back.
It was enlightening for them.
Yeah.
It was good. Good tour. So good job, John. Any questions of his report? It was very detailed. I always appreciate all that. Okay, we're gonna move on. Do any commissioners have any comments or anything they want to bring up?
John and I did a tour a week ago, 2 weeks ago, BPA.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, and that was a informative tour, so if you get a chance to do one of those with, I think, PPC.
Yeah.
You
Was that,
awesome.
Bonneville Dam?
Yeah.
get a chance to do one in the future, it's nothing.
Yeah,
at this point.
it's different because some of the way they do the tours at each individual projects, sometimes you get to actually go down and stand right next to the generator. This one we didn't get to, but in past, I've actually got to walk down and stand next to the generators and actually see them running, so. It was it was good, but I was a little disappointed in that piece.
Yeah, it was more of a, and I would share that sentiment. I mean, it seemed more of like a public tour plus
Yeah.
versus like a behind the scenes. But you had mentioned the John Day Dam, you got to
Yeah.
go behind the scenes. So,
Yeah.
but it was a well-run tour. It was on time.
Right.
It was informative.
Yeah, we got to John Day, we got to see him actually working on the generators and how they do that. And,
Got to see a ship go through the locks. We did get to see the locks there, I guess. and
So,
a
yeah.
little boat.
So I recommend that other commissioners, when you get a chance to go on these damn tours.
Okay.
And actually, I don't know if anyone's interested. They have done in the past Columbia Generating. I don't know if everybody knows what Columbia Generating is. That's the nuclear plant at Hanford.
No.
So if you have interest in that. That would. You won't glow when you're done.
I mean, it's like, no.
Extra charge.
Yeah.
All right, there are financials and information included in your packet. Did anybody have any questions on those? They're always so detailed and you do a good job. All right, we will now be going into executive session. There is no further action to be taken by the commission this evening, so we will not be returning to open session. Ask General Counsel Sam Justice to please read the citation to take us into executive session.
So pursuant to RS 192-660 sub 2 sub F, to consider information records that are exempt from public disclosure under RS 192-345-23 revealing security measures, protect individuals, buildings, property, and information processing, and RS 192-660 sub 2 sub P to consider matters relating to cybersecurity infrastructure and responses to cybersecurity threats. That's in one session. Well, the second executive session pursuant to RS 192-660 sub 2 sub F to discuss information records that are exempt from public disclosure under RS 192-355-9A and RS 192-355 sub 4 relating to confidential or privileged records and RS 40-225 attorney-client communications and 192-345 sub 2 trade secrets, 192-355-4 information shared in confidence where the public body is obligated not to disclose. That's in the second session. If we do have any media with us here tonight, their counsel not to disclose anything that's shared in executive session pursuant to those disclosures. I understand we will not be coming back into open session. It will be adjourned the meeting in a closed session.
Great.
Before we get started, if anybody wants to pizza.
That would be